Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi, Roberto.
Great to see you.
Great to see you too. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
For me too. So, first of all, thanks to the people who's already connected. Now I'm checking here. We have already 30 people connected. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's an honor and it's a pleasure to see all these people connected because it means that what we are going to discuss is meaningful for you. And also I want to thank you for investing 1 hour of your time, which is the most precious resource that we have. We will never get it back. We'll never be in this moment again. And this is also for you, Sandra, because I know all the preparation, all the care that you put into this event. You blocked your agenda. You're here. You're present. You were, by the way, the people who was here know you were here 1 hour ago, so or more, and we did all the preparation. We did the technical stuff. So thank you so much for your presence. And I'm not going to check the chat. So now I'm going to close this so I can be fully present with you at this moment, which means that we are going to check the chat later. So please, everyone who's there, by the way, you can say hi, you can drop a message. So we see that everything is working. And then I'm going to refresh this. And then we will not going to check the chat until more or less the middle of the conversation, which one will be when you are going to check and answer the questions. So that's for the technical preparation. I'm going to close this and now here. Perfect. So first of all, I would like you to do a quick introduction because to me it's really meaningful because we met each other. We started interacting virtually in October 2022, which
Really? Okay.
yes, yeah, I checked it and said, wow, almost 2 years.
Mhm.
And I remember our first interaction was about one illustration that you recalled very pointedly about the Castelliers and
Yes.
how we create high performing teams. And then from the very first beginning, you started to uh, give me feedback and to inspire new idea, new perspective. And this is amazing. And one of the things that strike me from the beginning is the extreme curiosity that you had for everything, the willingness to learn, to see how things works. And then in May 2023, you surprised me with a proposal, which was, remember, it was like, oh, Roberto, I was talking with my team and we discussed all the things that we do here with the communication, LinkedIn, etc. And then I already thought, okay, this is different. This is
Mhm.
sounds exciting. And you said, why don't we meet in person with my team and we share, we talk about the things we love. And I think that I took 1 millisecond to say, yes, of course.
Our luck.
But and my luck, because what I saw is that uh, you had, and you have still, of course, an amazing team of people committed, generous, sharing, and you created this space. So what I said, immediately saw is what an amazing leader, what an amazing person who cares for their team, who shares things, and who also is able to mix things, not only professional, but you can also talk about your personal life and all these things and do it in a natural way. So this is what struck me in the beginning. And of course, I still 100% subscribe to that after 1 year. And the proof is that you are here sharing your journey and your learnings.
And
And
thank you
after,
because, in fact, you gain 5 new fans during that lunch. So they never stop following you, I think. So they are part of your many followers in LinkedIn because you are also very inspiring. So
thank
thank you
you.
for that.
Thank you. And there's an anecdote because we met with Eva in the plane. And yeah, one of the person on your team, and it was a great moment. It was a nice moment. And it was the weeks after my father's death. And it was a sad moment. And I remember that I was sitting next to her. Oh, Roberto, and she enlightened my day. And you see all these things and this connection, and who knew that this was going to happen? And this also thanks to you. So this is another example of how reaching out and taking initiative on things that we like can bring to unexpected things.
Mhm.
Thank you. But after this long introduction, I'm curious also, long and of course 100% new. And I'm curious to hear, what do you want the people connected today to know about you? What's your story, Sandra?
Okay, so it used to be easy for me to introduce myself, but then someday someone told me that how you start to introduce yourself, it's ultra important. So what you
Oh,
say first. And ever since that thing told by a professional, by an expert, I'm always thinking, oh my God, what will I choose first? So I choose to say that I'm Portuguese, that I'm 45 years old, that I have two beautiful kids, Gabriel with 7 and Mariana with 13. They live half of the year in Portugal with their father, and half of the year we live all together here. I'm commuting and we are all together. I'm a pharmacist, and I have worked more than 20 years in the pharma industry, mostly in quality, but not only, because I study pharmacy and because of my curiosity that you mentioned, I also study marketing and product management. I also
mm,
study general management and many other things that could be considered not related with quality. So I have this curiosity that has grown with me since early age, and I'm also very creative and having a lot of ideas. And that's why you keep seeing me doing different things. So I would say curious, intense, creative, and for me, there are no impossibles. So that would be how I would describe myself.
mm. I love how you said intense.
Because it's true.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what you say, I can see that one thing came to my mind, which is the caring and daring.
Uh huh.
And I get that this is something that has to do also with how you lead teams and how you lead people. Does this land with you?
Well, it totally lands. And actually, it has been a journey, Roberto, because I believe in personal development since I was young. So I started working at 16. At 18, I received my first real salary. And with this salary, instead of going to travel or doing vacations as my friends, I decided to do a train the trainer course. And since then, I have never stopped. And
Yeah.
during this personal development and growth journey, I have learned to learn myself, to be self
Mm,
aware, and also to learn that we cannot change who we are. So, our personality, our temper will always be the same or will not change that much.
yeah.
But we can change our character and the way we behave. So the caring and daring, or the inspiration and intimidation that they could also fit
Yeah.
sometimes, it's something that if you are aware, then you can work on it. And you can also be honest with the people and tell them, look, I know sometimes I'm too intense, or sometimes I can be more reactive. This is now not how I want to be most of the time. So if this is the case, just help me to get a glimpse that I'm doing that and to control it. Because one thing is what you are, the other thing is what you give to others and how you behave. And as a leader, which I am since I'm 19 years old, I'm a leader of people. It's even more important because you have a service, you have a mission to do, and that is to help the other people to make their lives better and to make their lives in a positive impact. So you need to be conscious of this. So caring and daring, or inspiration versus intimidation in some days, it's something that it's very close to my heart because we need to pay attention to it.
Mm. And thank you for bringing this. And actually, the way you said that you share this with the people, you say, okay, this is who I am. This is what my tendency, this is my natural tendency to go there. And I can even figure something like, if I go too much there, raise your hand and please tell me something. You're somehow giving them permission to say something, and you are stating, I'm this, I sometimes do that, my intention is this, so please, when this happens, you can tell me. And this is
Yes.
amazing. And
And I'm grateful if they do that, actually. And I say thanks to them. And I do the same with my managers, being them the CEO, being them the vice president or God, because at the end, I believe intention makes the difference. And if your intention it's positive, then 50% of the positive impact is there. Being it a presentation, being it feedback, being it something that you want to change. So intention can be felt by the other persons. It's like an energy that you cannot hide it. And if you have the right intention, then it can be seen. And in my case, because I smile a lot, sometimes people think that I'm all fluffy and all smile, and I'm not. I'm also very demanding and I'm also very assertive. Um, and I believe the balance is the solution and is the key.
yeah, and I love when you say the intention, because first of all, you set the intention. So it's like in the morning, you say, who I want to be today. I have this meeting, for example, today. I thought I have this conversation with Sandra. What's my intention for that? How do I visualize the conversation to happen? I want this to be fun. I want to ask questions. I want to discover new things about Sandra. I want to have so much fun. And this already is guiding what's happening. And it's exactly as you say, it's so easy. And you can do it in 3 minutes or 2 minutes. What's my intention for today? Who I want to be? And then I would like to add one thing to the intention is that when you are the receiver of something, and there is what's the name? It's called the Hanlon razor, which I found it through the Sahil Bloom newsletter, which is a nice resource also. And it says that when you are in doubt, first think about something happening because ignorance or even stupidity rather than ill intention or malice. So if something happens to you, if someone says something that really lands very badly with you, I first think maybe they just don't know something. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe it's who they are and they didn't do the homework that you did and they have no ill intention. Because if I think this, I feel better. But if I think, oh, they're getting after me, they want to stick their finger in my eye, doesn't work because then I be defensive and then or perhaps I will take off my virtual knife and I will stab them and this is not fine. So this is so important. So it's both sides. First you set your own intention and then you have to get out of the assumptions on the other people because also we don't know what's happening in the life of the other person. And I
That's
would
a
like to add
great
one.
advice. That's a great advice. I just want to remark so people can
Yeah,
really see how beautiful it is, this perspective, and how it contributes to our happiness.
absolutely. And you talked about the manager and how brave it is to go to your manager and say, with care, but with assertiveness, as you say now, okay, this that you said, it made me feel bad. What was your intention? And then, oh, I didn't know. Most of the time, what happens is that I was absolutely aware. I was just going down this road and I took everything in my way, and I will be more aware next time. And this is what happened 99% of the time. I also did it. And what happened? They thank you. And I thank the people when they say it to me. Because if they don't say, then they will say to a colleague. And they say, oh, look, this person, she said this, is what a stupid person, and he doesn't care. But tell me, please, I want to know.
Yes, and I love this because, in quality, the world where I lived for so many years and I still live, we say that 99% of the times that something happens, It's because the process was not well defined, the tools were not appropriate, whatever. Only 1% of the times that we have an issue, deviation, or whatever, I will not bring the jargon here, it's because there was a bad practice or a bad intention or something. So this is even used in science like quality. And actually, you asked me before we went live, um, what things do I repeat for myself or that I use? And many times I use this that you are saying. It's not personal. What
Mm.
happened, what the person did, it's not on you. It's just because the person is mad, the person doesn't know how to do better, her or his experience has teach her or him to do this way. And having this internal conversation, as you were saying, helps a lot, not only to frame the problem inside you, not to suffer, but also to be empathic to the person and help her. So actually, you gave two advices. And one was do not take it personal or try to be in the other person's shoes. And you also talked about visualization. Do you use it? Do you do visualization in routine? Because I believe it's a very powerful tool. So maybe you can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for this question, Sandra. And I love this. And by the way, this was inspired. The idea of the visualization was inspired from George Corcuser, which wrote two books. One is Care to Dare, actually,
Yes.
and the other is Hostess at the Table. And he said that what we visualize with our mind's eye then guides our actions. And it's as easy as 1 minute. So you can do it. You can do some. You can even if you can even combine this with a breathing of 1 minute. You breathe. You think, what's going to happen in this meeting? What do I want to happen in this meeting? And you think like a movie, fast forward, and you picture yourself interacting, you're smiling with the people. Oh, what's going to happen there? And then how we're going to close? We're going to laugh at that, and we're going to close the deal, the project, whatever. Of course, doesn't mean it's going to happen.
But it helps. It helps a
It
lot.
helps
Yeah.
a lot, because as you said, the people and we can feel that, and even imagine, even in my coaching training, the facilitator told us that they were doing in the beginning, in the first hour of the day, when before the people was getting into the session. Imagine this huge training room with a circle and two facilitators and two persons. And they told us that they were doing an exercise like some magic, and they were thinking about what's going to happen, what's our intention for the day, and how do we want this day to be.
Yes.
And I would also add one more thing, which is not, this is a short term tactic, let's say, or practice, which then becomes a habit. But then there is another one, which is thinking about, in general, who do I want to be? And especially there's one question, there's how do I want Sandra to remember me after this conversation?
Exactly. Very good. And this is all again setting the intention, right? And it helps. And regarding visualization, just to give a very recent experience. So last week we were presenting at a town hall, myself and a project manager of our program that is Be Wellness, and she had never presented before in a town hall, and actually. Well, she doesn't like to present as most of us, and because I'm always so relaxed, or it seems people think that I don't get nervous, but I actually get nervous. In that presentation, I could not be nervous because if Marianne would feel me nervous, then she would even be more nervous, right? So I had to really feel relaxed, feel confident in power, and while I was listening to people telling me, imagine the audience naked. So this is a very good advice. But the one I followed was to visualize myself there in the stage, doing the presentation, having fun, saying the words that I have practiced. And I shared my experience with Marian. She did the same. And at the end, not only it went well, more important, we had fun. We really enjoy doing it. So visualization, it's really powerful because if you do it, then it's not the first time you are there on the stage. Michael Phelps did it. So when he won, he said, I'm here today for the first time, but I have swum in this pool 1,000 times in my head. So just to give that intention visually, there are so many tools that I wish they would taught at school. They would be
I,
part of the onboardings, and then everyone could have shortcuts to get their goals and their dreams. So thank you for bringing this up.
Absolutely. And thank you, Sandra. This is an amazing example. And to add to your example, this is also one thing that I also don't do the naked people visualization. That's worked for me at least.
Your
But
boss is there. You don't want to.
yeah, that doesn't work. But what I do is that I think like there are two things. I think like many one-on-one conversation. So if this was a one-on-one conversation, would I be nervous? Probably not, because I know this person. And then the second one is that I reframe this nerve that I also have into, okay, I respect these people, I care for this, and I want them to have a good experience. And so this is actually something positive. And the nerves are still there, and the emotion. And if we don't feel it, perhaps maybe I would say, oh, maybe I don't care so much. I always, even before clicking the live, it's the same today that the first time that we did it. So this is also the fun. And one thing, Sandra, when you mention this wellness, and then you said in the beginning you were working in quality, what's the connection? And I'm super curious because I can feel that it's very important to you, all these things. And you mentioned also to make their lives better and this willingness to improve the people you work with. Can you tell me more about this?
Yes, actually, I should have said it in my presentation because although I'm a pharmacist by training, actually, what I have done during all my life in the several companies I have worked with was to do um, cultural transformations or somehow mindset transformations. And this is what I'm good at, actually. And in the several interviews I had when headhunters came to pick me, in the interviews, I always got the question, are you sure you should be working in quality because your profile is more commercial, medical, human resources. I did YESE, the program of general management, and my colleagues thought I work in human resources until half of the program. So they only discovered that I'm quality, in the Ecuador. So maybe I should have mentioned this, that actually what is my purpose is to help people to identify their superpowers because we all have superpowers. Sometimes we are afraid to admit them. Other times we just don't see them and we need help. And other times we had experience that have made our superpowers buried somewhere. So this is what I like to do, to get the best out of people. Sometimes it's painful because they need to grow, of course, so they are out of their comfort zone. Painful in the sense that is not comfortable, but then they become their best version. And the same with the culture, because I believe that one person, one, and you have an illustration on this, I believe, one person can change the world. One person can change the company culture. One person can change one thing at the time. So I don't know where this is coming from because when I was 19, as I mentioned, I was already managing a team of 10 people where the youngest one was 25 years old. So I believe that I did work hard, but I was also lucky because since the beginning, my teams have embraced me as I was and they helped me to help them. So this is my purpose regarding processes, regarding culture, and then more recently on the wellness space. Because since I'm at the actual company Esteve, I not only have quality, but I have health, safety, and environment. And so taking care about the people, the health, the safety, it's one of the things that comes with it. So this became even more present within me. And because I had in my personal life some examples of lack of mental healthness, I know that we need to take care of our whole physical, mental, social, etc. So since this year, I'm also the sponsor of Be Wellness at the Steve, and together with the team and with the project manager, we are implementing something that it's not only yoga classes, it's not only things that can be beautiful in the social media. They are really things that can transform the ways of working. And this is where we need to make a difference. So since Johnson, Novartis, etc., I have always been a person that was able to do transformational change, some that were not possible to be done before. So that's why I'm doing Be Wellness, I'm doing Net Zero, I'm doing other projects besides quality. Maybe I don't know how to say no that well, and maybe that is a mix of things.
What what I hear is that you have, and thank you, Sandra, for sharing this story, because you are not only quality, you are not only quality, you have so many facets, and this is also something that I think is changing a little bit. We are not monodimensional. We have many things, and these things that we have, that we are all of that, are interlaced, and then they support each other. So probably, I'm sure that what I remember at the beginning when I thought this lunch that we had, all this good uh, vibe that we had was because of all these things that you let through yourself, and you let them see who you are, and so you created this space. And you mentioned mental health and taking these things seriously, and also what I hear is that you normalize these things. The theme of mental health at work, not only in personal life. And I'm curious to know what's the thing that you learned about this in the last
Well,
year.
I learned that we are not good at asking for help. And this is
Ah,
true at work and it's good at home. Because
mm,
when I started to post about mental health and how important it was, and how there are many people struggling, and how important it is to ask for help, I receive dozens, hundreds of messages in LinkedIn of people that were struggling and they have not shared with anyone. And these posts I started to talk about mental health actually after my father committed suicide. And this was a full surprise for me. So, my father was the most funny person in the world. He would enter a room and he would say a joke, and everyone would be laughing. He was never complaining. Everything was okay. It was such a good vibe. We were together like 4 times a week. I'm a pharmacist. I work in the health sector, and I did not see it coming. Not at all. So this for me opened a new window to understand that not everything is visible, and many people are struggling, and they are ashamed, afraid of sharing that they are struggling. And so this was my biggest learning, that we still have a lot of limiting beliefs. And I really think this is an important topic, limiting beliefs, that are the things we believe that are preventing us from going further, going bigger, taking care about ourselves. And they are in everything that we do. I'm not good enough to be rich. I need to be manipulative or bad character, or men don't cry, or so many limiting beliefs that we have from our education, from the social media, etc. And one of them is that we can take care about these topics alone. And it's not true. We should ask for help. And if we think about, if someone reached out to you asking for help, how would you respond? How would you be available? So it's the same, vice versa. But we have these glasses, these limiting beliefs that don't let us see how simple it can be, and we complicate everything. So um, now it's very easy for me to talk about the topic. It was not during a certain time. I had to do my briefing. I study a lot. I talk with a lot of people regarding this topic. And I think we can make the difference if we are just available and we talk about this as we talk about football or any other topic.
Exactly. Thank you, Sandra, for sharing this story. And this also remember something what you said in the beginning of the conversation. So you said that even one person can change the culture. And imagine, and this is also something that the people maybe are connected and they're feeling probably, as you said, oh yeah, I'm also starting with this. I am also starting with something at this moment. I think everyone, almost everyone, at a certain point is starting with something. And when you say this to a person, you don't have to say, of course, in a team meeting or in a public. You mentioned the all hands meeting. Maybe that's not the place, or maybe yes, depends. But if you choose, and again, going to the beginning, what's my intention? The intention is to ask for help, to show that I'm a human being, and they can also at the same time they can trust me. And if they can trust me, maybe they can help me. And it's still, I think it's something that we don't have 100%. And reminds me of when 10 years ago, I asked for coaching. In my,
Mm-hmm.
I did it. And now, almost 10 years ago, now people, some people are telling me, when you ask for that, someone said, oh, mm, maybe he has a problem. Uh, but and so this is something that luckily is not more no more the reality, but it was real at this moment. So things change, fortunately, and now we are in a place with coaching which has nothing to see with what we saw in 10 years ago. Now you see, I want a coach. Yes, of course, because I want to be my best version. So that's, I think it's clear. And we are not still there with mental health. We still fear that maybe they're going to say that I'm not strong enough. I don't have the courage. I don't have the energy. Who knows? And if someone takes the first step, they give the permission to the rest to do that.
Exactly. Like everything else, the best way, I believe, to incentivize people, to motivate people to do it, is by giving the example, is by
Yeah.
being the example, right? Because having a coach is like having a person that does massage. I go to the massage, I go to the coach. I work on my body, I work on my mental, or I work in my personality and who I am. So it should be exactly the same. And if we more of us talk about having coach, being coaches, etc., then it will normalize. Because knowing the theory, it's different than practicing it. And with my current team, actually, I have learned to be vulnerable because I was always also strong. I could always handle everything. Nothing would affect me. But actually, I realized that this is not helping anyone because people don't
Yeah.
want to see like
Yes.
a rock while they know they are also vulnerable and they struggle. And so at some point, I understood, oh, I can be vulnerable. I can show that I'm also pissed off and that I'm also frustrated, that I'm also sad. And this was
Yes.
such a relief to
Oh, yes.
understand that a leader, no matter how many people you have in your organization, can be vulnerable. And I believe that this is just an example on how demonstrating, being an example, living it, can influence others to do it. And so, you know the power of coaching, Roberto. I know the power of coaching. And I'm not sure if the people know exactly what is coaching or the power of coaching. So maybe you can illuminate us on that. Maybe that's also something we can share with the ones that are listening to us.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorite topic, as yours it is. And what I would say that, again, with intention, there's one anecdote. I just finished my CTI certification, which has a formal exam, which is something that, again, talking about having our saboteurs and how doubt, our inner doubts. I also had my doubts. I also was thinking probably until the very last week that it was going to be great and I would have fun. But then the week before, I start thinking, oh, and what happens if I don't pass the exam? What will happen? And everyone was telling me, no, you're going to pass, you're amazing, blah, 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 blah. Of course, they say that because they care about me. But then I think, and what if, despite all of these things, I don't pass the exam? What would I be if I don't pass the exam? Well, other people. So this is also already an example of what we're talking about. And why do I share that? Because my answer to that, to my saboteur, was, what's the intention for me for this? And what do I like about coaching? So I want to focus not on the fear of not passing the exam, of the shame and what's going to happen, how I'm going to tell my friends, blah, blah, blah. But I want to focus on what's the thing that I love about coaching, what excites me, and why always 5 minutes or 10 minutes before a coaching session, I take a small walk and I think about what I'm going to discover today in this person that I have in front of me. And it's such a privilege to hear the things that are inside everyone. Because one of the pillars of the coaching practice is that we believe that every person is creative, full of resources, and whole. And we don't have to fix anything, which, by the way, is a great liberation because I'm not good at fixing people and no one needs to be fixed.
Yes.
And I
Ask the
don't want to
question.
be fixed.
Yes.
So the beautiful thing is that you discover constantly things. And how do we, again, I would like you to bring it back to our life because we are both coaches, but I see coaching as, of course, we have a formal coaching practice with a session, etc. But then there are coaching skills, and you mentioned some of that. You have mentioned asking the people. You mentioned listening. You mentioned also caring, not by in being involved in their lives, but just listening and see who is this person, what do they want, what they value, what are their strengths, what are they struggling with. Just hearing, asking questions, and being maybe willing to be surprised.
Yes, I'm a very visual person. That's maybe how I started to be fascinated by you at the beginning because I learn with visuals, not auditive, not reading, visuals. And for me, coaching, what it does, not professional, but any coaching, in coaching is doing open questions, opening the possibilities. So for me, what it does is that usually we live in squares like this one, right? And when you do the questions, then our mind starts to get rid of the square. And this is true with the limiting beliefs or with the myths, because you said I work in quality, but a lot of things. And I had several examples in my life where I was able to convince colleagues that were in marketing and they moved to quality, and colleagues that were in quality and they moved to business, to
Yeah.
operations, etc. And this was a hard job because people are used to do their careers going up. So if I'm
Mm.
quality, I'm technician, then I'm a manager, then I'm a director, etc. No, 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 no. We humans are fabulous. We are unpredictable. We can do anything. So a career path can be this way, this way, this way, even down then up. So there are no limits. We self-impose our limits. And this example of technical people going to business and vice versa is an example. You should do
Yeah.
whatever you love, because if you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like you are accomplishing your purpose. So the questions, they do this in on personal level the same. You might have a dream, and because you haven't dared to ask, you don't even verbalize or know your dream. And I have seen it. People that said, oh no, I don't have a dream. I just have two jobs, so I have the money to pay my bills. And then doing the questions, the person has a dream. The dream even has a business name already chosen. Already there is a place where the dream can come true. And all of this is just wow. You see the people flourishing, and then you just gain your day, your hour, or whatever. So asking has a million possibilities, and this is wonderful what you are saying.
Yeah. Again, the curiosity that you mentioned, and what's the you when you said the name of the business, and then I could see the wow. Tell me more about this.
It was here, but the person was denying it
Yeah,
because she was afraid of assuming she had a
yeah,
dream, and she was afraid she could not do it. So it's amazing, and it's the same with anything. With just doing a
absolutely.
presentation, with changing jobs, with getting a partner, the possibilities are huge. And again, theory is different than practice, and that's why it's so important to continue to learn and
Yeah,
learning with others, not only trainings, not only courses, but observing other people. That's why I love talking with people like you, because every time we talk I learn so much, I gain so much observing and using our networks, because networking means give and take, and this is another myth that people have, that is out of
yes,
interest, and it's not. It's just a wonderful tool that everyone has available for free usually.
absolutely. Now that you mention networking, and I'm curious, and you see, time flies because it's already a quarter past five.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and we said we can go on for 2 hours, and we are not going to go on for 2 hours because, of course, we said one. But let's check the chat for one moment, so we see if we have some question, then we can
Mm-hmm.
jump
Okay.
back in. And if we have no time to answer everything in live, we will send a message one by one, as you said, part of the network. This is the beauty of interacting with people. So let's see. Mm, mm, mm. Here, okay, here I have, hi Jason, hi Mabel, let me know, hi Navid, hi Pinkal, hello Ernest. Answer, I agree that one person can change a culture. Yes, it can be you. Yes, of course. And Michaela, these many things are soft skill. The expression and transversal. When you have them, they are part of your value. Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Well,
it's part of you.
maybe while you are checking the values, it's something so important that most of
Mm.
us don't know what our values
You raised a great point. You talk about the values, Sandra, and that we don't know our values. And this reminds me of a beautiful exercise which everyone can do, which is thinking. There are two exercises actually. One is thinking about the moments in our life that we were at 100% happy, the best moment of our life, the highs, and one is the lows.
are.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you're thinking highs and lows, you will see, and I will see, I saw what are the common points of this. And where at a low, perhaps some of your values are not being honored or not being expressed. And when you're high, it's true. And this is very easy. We can do it on our own, and it's super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And there is another exercise which we do in the coaching, which is asking many questions. And if you ask this question and you listen, you just listen, and the values comes out from from the person, and it's so easy to spot the values. Then you write it on a paper. You write all the words on a paper, on a virtual paper or physical, and you show this to the person. And they said, "This is what I heard from your story,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's when they see and say, wow. Many times a person said, I like what I see myself in that, and I was not aware of how could I come across. So it's like you mentioned the square. It's like opening the square and showing
Mm-hmm.
them as a mirror who you are.
Yeah. And not struggling so much, right? Because my values are freedom, and then
Mm.
family, and then justice, and so on. So knowing that freedom is more important than family, I could never have chosen a husband that would not give me the freedom that I need as a woman, as a mother, as a professional. So this is important when you take your decisions and you do your choices. The same at work. I could never work with a manager that is a micromanager, because then I would not have my freedom, or more than a micromanager that does not allow for the flexibility, whatever. So knowing our values and accept them really help us to go with no anxiety in our decisions and to make better decisions. So it's really an exercise everyone should do. Define, understand, knowing your values. And if you need help, just reach out to Roberto or myself and we can help. No, I'm just speaking on your behalf, but
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. And at the same time, I would add that these are, it looks, as you said, the theory is very easy. Then you have to do it. And sometimes it's as easy as we said, the visualization exercise, as easy, and taking some time to think on our own and see what do I want, what do I don't, not. And then you have to be honest with yourself first. And maybe someone will say, oh, my first value is family. Yes, yes, of course. But then you're working all the day, you're never home. How can you say your first value is family? So you, or vice versa.
we should
And
not be ashamed of our values, of course.
exactly. And again, as the expectation, because I have to be that person that does this, but then, and takes courage to, and also first of all to ourselves, and then to express it. And I admit that I also have my struggles sometimes because I have my value very clear. But then, of course, you have to take million decisions, and sometimes I say, I know I should do this, but and you don't. And then, of course, you have to walk it through.
Yes.
Okay. I'm super curious, and I know we are getting to the end of the conversation, and I'm very curious because I would love to do a little experiment with you, Sandra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because because I'm also very curious to hear
Mm-hmm.
what are the answers to these questions. And there is a great person who is doing also podcasts and a lot of content that we like, and
Mm-hmm.
which is Jay Shetty, and he has a way to close all his interviews and his conversation to ask always the same question. And a friend of mine, which is Kate, which by the way, she embodies this connection and this curiosity that you mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
She shared with me, and I said, "Oh, I'm super curious to see what will be Sandra's answer." So, can I do it?
Let's go. I'm ready as I can be.
Okay, so thanks. So, the first question, Sandra, is
Mm-hmm.
what's the best advice that you ever received?
Mm-hmm. I would say um, it's the one we talked today. Don't take things so serious and personally. So give give things the value they have or that they will have in 1 year and five, etc. This is for me the best advice that applies for work and for personal life.
Mm, I like it. And since this is an experiment, that we share also what comes to me with that.
Yes.
And one of the best advice now that came to me is, and also connected to this conversation, is that to show more our emotions
Mm-hmm.
and not hide ourselves. Share more of who we are, share more of what we feel, and also give more feedback to the people. When we like something, we can say it. So
Mm-hmm.
we can
Yes.
just take it for ourselves. So reach out more to the people. That
You
would be
only
my.
give feedback when the person it's important to you, because as you said at the beginning, our time it's our most precious asset. So time it's our most precious thing, and if you dedicate your time to give feedback to someone positive or to improve something, it's because you care, it's because you want to contribute to something better for that person. So, absolutely, I hope everyone can see feedback as a gift, and that we can all learn how to give good feedback, because it's not easy. It's an art, and it needs practice again
Mm.
to be
Yeah,
good.
and it's uncomfortable sometimes. It's much easier to not give feedback and not say anything because you don't know what's going to happen after you give that feedback. So it's something brave, and you have to have courage. And this again, you care about the person, so you go that extra step.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. The second question: what's the worst advice you ever received?
Okay, I would say that's an easy one, and I will choose
Mm.
one that is a professional one, because
Okay.
it stuck with me. That
Mm.
I heard from a teacher of a business school
Yeah.
that to get to the top, I should get through people. I
Um,
should do politics. I should be selfish. I should have my own agenda before anything else. So
mhm.
it's like the book Command, the 50 Rules of Command or something, that I absolutely think it's an awful advice, and I do not agree at all. So I don't need to do anything of this to get up, whatever that means, because I have had a very good career. I'm at a very good position, and I have never done nothing like that. I have always followed my values and what I think it's the ethical thing to do. So that's for sure the worst advice that I could have. And it was from someone that should know better. Maybe that's why it's so memorable.
Yeah, it's like absolutely. And look at how curious mine is also from the profession and it's somehow connected to that. And again, in a business school setting, many years ago, I received an advice which was don't get close to people. Keep the maximum distance possible.
Mm.
And, and I admit that since I was in early days of my career, I bought it. And 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 yeah, and that has an impact, of course. And now when you see and when you discard it and say, how could I do this? It's it's not who I want to be, and it's not fun. But yeah, it was very bad advice. Absolutely from
Yes.
experience.
That goes with your first one. Show your emotions, right? So
Exactly. That's the other side of the coin. Absolutely. Yeah. And one more question would be, Sandra, and I'm super curious, what's the thought that you repeat most during your day?
this is a very good one. So I will be totally honest, as I'm always totally honest. This is one thing that is terrible. When people do me questions, I always answer with honesty. So this can be tricky. But the thought that I need to repeat to myself daily is, you need to put yourself in the agenda too,
Mm,
because my personality, my motivation, it's always bigger when I'm serving others. So this is the way I'm most motivated, if I have a purpose for others. And so I need to find a way to put myself in the agenda, even if sometimes I need to twist the motivation that it's also something for the others. So my daily thought is, yes, help others, yes, be servant, yes, whatever, but also make sure that you include you, that you do at least three things in the day just because you want or you wish, not because you are obliged to, and that will nurture you. So to be totally honest, this is something I need to work daily, so I don't put myself in the second or third
yeah,
priority.
I love it. And I will also add to that that I agree with that 100%. And it's not selfish. It's smart because if you are on your agenda, if you care for yourself, if you treat well yourself, then you can give to others. And you cannot just put the other first and don't
Yeah.
take care of yourself.
And you know
Absolutely.
what my husband says? And I love this sentence because I learn a lot with my husband. He teaches me a lot. he says that everything it's a type of selfishness, meaning
Mhm.
when I'm taking care of the others, I do it because it makes me happy. So it's
Ah,
also something selfish in the sense that I do it for my own pleasure or for my own satisfaction. And he's right, but it's the good type of selfishness. So
yeah,
we can say the same thing in many different ways. But at
yeah,
the end, again, the balance it's what makes it work.
absolutely. It's like who we want to be. We do it for ourselves, and this is what we express then. So it's first I do it for myself, and this is going to be with the other. Yes,
Mhm. Yes.
absolutely. One more question, which is this is really interesting. What's something that you used to value, but you don't value anymore?
Ah, this is so easy, so easy.
Mm.
The quantity of friends I have, the
Oh,
quantity of power, the quantity of people reporting to me. So
mm,
I have always worked in quality, but only recently I learned, with age, I think, with experience, I learned to value the quality of things over quantity. We don't need a lot of friends. We need
mm,
genuine, true friends. We don't need to have a big organization to make an impact. We need to care and we need to have the intention. So I think this is my most genuine answer.
mm. Thank you. And
You? Yes.
I can definitely see that you put this into everything that you do. Absolutely. One thing that I value and I don't value anymore. I think that everything changed with my kids.
Mm.
In the first years, I just valued myself. It was all about myself. And now, since I have two kids, they're the first thing. So, and yes, if there is something that I have to, okay, to give up or not to do, I say, okay, this is much more important. And for example, a personal story, my son, Luca, is on the autism spectrum. And this was something that changed completely my life. And I still do the things I like, but I don't do everything that I like because first of all comes Luca, and then comes the rest. And this is something that I choose, and it doesn't mean that the rest is not important, but I don't value the what's the how to say. It's not only about me. When you have another person in the world who is depending on you, now becomes immediately the first priority. At least for me, that was change everything.
That's the definition of true love. And it's totally aligned with your values, I can see. And it's beautiful when you talk about Luca and about your family.
Mm,
It's just amazing. So thank you for that.
thanks. And of course, my other daughter Valentina is also important. I
Yeah.
mentioned Luca because it was like such a big change in all the priority. But then the first moment when you stop being a parent for not being a parent, it's like double.
Yes. Yes, yes. Everything
Okay,
changes, and
everything.
we can still do everything, or we can still do everything when it makes sense. So yes. Mhm.
Exactly. Something happened. Maybe a call comes in.
I'm running out of battery. I don't know
Ah,
how because I'm
okay.
plugged in. But
Don't worry. Well, actually, it's a good timing because it's 5:30. So I think we can wrap up with one question. I have one more question for you, which is if you had something that you would like to see more in the world and something you want to see less in the world, Sandra, what would that be?
well, I would like to see more empathy.
Mm,
This is what I would like to see more, that people can put themselves in the other shoes and understand that everyone is important, regardless of their work, of their job, of their social economic status. So my father taught me this, and I would hope that everyone could see it. and be grateful for what they are in the way, because being grateful, it's a good way for happiness. And what I would like to see less in the world, I think that would be greedy or a
Mm,
bad ambition. Because then this makes everything like a nonsense competition, and there is space for everyone.
thank you. Thank you so much. 100% with you. And I can definitely see that this is how you live also. You live giving more of that and trying to live that every day. One more question, Sandra. If someone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to do it?
Well, I think the easiest way to do it is through LinkedIn. I'm not able to answer all the messages very quickly, but I do try, because that's where I share my thoughts, or whenever I think something can be helpful for someone in the world, someone that is reading me. I go there, and in 10 minutes, it needs to be fast because time, as you said, it's a very precious thing. I share there, and it's easy that I'm notified. So LinkedIn would be the best way to reach out to me, and I try to answer all the comments and all the message as a form of respect to those that have take their time to talk with me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, for your presence. You are very generous, caring, intense, and super curious person. I want to see more of that, of course. And it was a wonderful conversation. We could go on for hours, but again, the time is over. The battery is over. And probably we will see also, maybe someone in the chat we will say that, because I get the message, I saw it just now, that the recording stopped on your side because of something happened. So who knows? Anyway, it was an amazing conversation. I'm so
Sorry,
happy that we
I
did it.
told you technology, it's not my
This is
superpower.
what happens when we do things live, and that's the beauty of that also. So no problem at all. It was fun, so much fun. I learned very much from you. And I hope people enjoy the conversation as we did.
Okay. Thank you
So
so much for having me here today. I love it. And well, we will continue to be in touch, and I will invite you for another lunch for sure. So
that would be a
thank you
pleasure.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much, Roberto. Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank
much.
you all. Bye bye.